Recently you might have seen my video on the power of the new Dream Texture AI tool for Blender based on Stable Diffusion. And today we're going to take this scene. I didn't make this myself. I'll leave a link down below to it in the description below. We're going to use Dream AI to fully texture this entire scene using only AI. And I mean it literally, because nothing in this scene is actually UV unwrapped. So we're also going to be using the Smart UV project in Blender. Is that a bad idea? It probably is, but it's funny. And let's also take this camera and make it a little bit more interesting, because this is a very boring composition. That means that I'm actually not going to have to generate textures for these bottles, because they're not going to be in view anyway. So I guess we should go over into the shading tab and just get started, because there's a lot of things that we need to worry about here. First things first, the floor and walls here are the same material, so we're actually going to change that around. We're going to make a new material for the floor, and we're going to make that a simple tile material. So we just generate a seamless texture here, and we'll call it tiles. Simple as that. I'm actually not mega sure whether or not a tile floor really fits a classroom now I think about it. Maybe we need to have a more wood floor. For the time being, we're going to stick with this. The upside of using this AI texture generator obviously is that it's very easy to iterate and change things around. So we're just going to make a first material for everything, and then we'll revisit some things and see how things actually look. Next up, we're going to go back to the walls here. So that should be this material. And we'll probably want to have something like let's just try plaster wall. Something simple, but not quite a solid color. See, something like this is probably exactly what we need here. So we'll add in another image texture. And then I think one of the major materials that's going to be important here is going to be the wood for the desks and the chairs, which chairs material right now, it's just brown. Obviously, we're going to go with a soft wood plank type material. We don't really want very fancy looking hardwood. And there we have our texture. So let's copy over our texture setup here and use this texture. Now this might need to be a little bit scaled up still. And we want a very subtle texture here, because this is going to be for these metal legs for these tables and these chairs. So we'll just go for black scratched metal. Again, not really what we want, so I'm going to change metal to specifically being steel. I think that might work better, and instead of black, I'm just going to call it dark. I did go through an RGB curve modifier, because this is what it originally looks like. I liked the texture, I didn't really like the color, so I just made it a lot darker. I think that's fair enough. I might generate another one of these later on, because the color matches the desks a little bit too much, which might not look very good in color contrast, but at least this looks a lot more like a classroom already. And this kind of thing, while generating textures and stuff is very powerful, this is the kind of thing that Stable Diffusion really is good at, and that's generating full images like this. So instantly, this is a beautiful image that we can put into this little painting over here. Instead of doing this, I want to do something else. I want to create a plane, size it up a little bit, and what we're going to do is a fun little lighting technique. I know that's not what this video is about, but we're going to do a fun little lighting technique here. And that is, we're going to make a new material here. Base color is going to be set to being black. The emission, however, will be set to white, and the emission strength will be like 5. Maybe 2. Then if we make an array out of this, so a little distance between, and then we add another array modifier after that in the Y direction instead, we can create very soft classroom-like lighting. And with a little bit of lighting magic, we have a full scene, which looks a lot better than the solid plastic-looking colors we had before. But there is still room for a tiny bit more improvement here. Now that's using the magic of Materialize, a handy little bit of software that will allow us to import our newly generated textures and make things like a normal map and a smoothness map out of them to really get our textures to turn into materials. And just like that, in about an hour, we've made this scene and we can take a look. This looks pretty good. Obviously, could use some work. If we were to hand make all of these textures, this would be days worth of work. If we were to buy these materials anywhere on the internet, this would cost a non-insignificant amount of money. Generating this through AI, we save either time or money. Not the best result we could have asked for, again, I know, but it certainly strikes a nice balance between being fast, being easy, and being free.